Why, hello everybody, it's Azazel here back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about quite the intriguing topic. Many people might know throughout my YouTube journey or YouTube career of the past year and a half, I started off mostly doing Naruto content. Now I've definitely shifted my content, lost the majority of the fan base, but that is fine. But I will be talking today about how I have grown to come to dislike and truly despise and hate Naruto as a character, and sometimes I really don't like the series after all. Now, many of you might agree, the ones that have stuck at least, but there will be a boatload of you who don't. And before you get your panties put in a bunch, why don't you just sit back, relax, and listen? If you have some controversies or anything to go against it, why don't you feel free to join my Discord server? The link will be in the description below. I'm more than willing to debate. At the end of the day, everything is up to interpretation. Everyone has a different perception. So, feel free to join the Discord server after listening to my part of this. Now, it starts a year and a half ago when I started, I don't know, just getting into Naruto. I realized, well, I kind of liked the series. I found Naruto a little aggravating, but it's a little giddy phase, very similar to when you're on laughing gas. You're numb to the emotions of really thinking about things. So, what did I do? Well, I would defend Naruto in arguments over and over again, and I even started my what ifs off with only Naruto and Hinata pairings. Many of you might remember that. Actually, not many of you would, only a few of you. If you do, good on you. Then I started to gravitate as I continued posting daily and daily and daily. After a while, I started to notice more and more things about the character that I truly couldn't like. I noticed the flaws in the being that people would overlook. How does Naruto claim to be this self-righteous victim when truly he is nothing more than a self-ingrate? It's annoying, in fact. As someone who's gone through severe abuse, gone through emotional trauma, it was annoying looking at a character like this. He claims to be the victim of every single circumstance. He had the hardest upbringing. But no, Naruto, you did not. In fact, he claimed to have been hated by the entire village, but in fact he was not. Who he claims to be is Gaara. As we, or many of us would know, Gaara had a very bad backstory. He had everyone dispose of him. His father put down him multiple times. He could get little to no sleep because of Shukaku inside of him depriving him, and that's where his eyes actually had the black circles from. But they stayed with him after Shukaku was actually taken away. Now, see, it wasn't genetics, but Naruto, on the other hand, half the village didn't like him. Well, half didn't care. He wasn't being abused consistently, nearly killed every single day. In fact, he had a few times where he was pushed and maybe something thrown at him. But in fact, a lot of these people were getting affirmations or reaffirmed of his being or being a monster by him doing acts that were retarded. Let me go pull a prank. He said he did it for attention. In fact, okay, that's perfectly fine. But you can't claim to be the victim of anything. After all, you still had friends. It showed many clips of him playing with Kiba, bonding with Shikamaru, having the ramen man there to always help him. He had people. Oh, he grew up starving. That's why he was so small. No, in fact, he was given the deliberate amount of money that he wanted to go and pick what he chose to eat, which would be ramen. It's quite the annoying thing, right? He chose to put himself in that dietary position. Then he chose to complain about Sasuke getting a bigger house when he had an entire apartment over his head. Annoying, to say the least. As someone who's been homeless multiple times, I don't like this. I've lived in a farm. I've lived in a trailer. I currently live in a shithole box, and I'm about to go homeless again for a short period of time. So Naruto, quite the intriguing thing you have going on here, being just living off the state. I bet you it feels good, doesn't it, Naruto? Then, claims to have claims to want to have a house just like Sasuke. He deserves it. Naruto, you are considered an adult once you become a genin. That means your mental capacity has to be that of an adult. In fact, Sasuke's shown that his maturity was great. So was Shikamaru's. If they're considered adults, then they could live on their own. Why are you so immature, Naruto? I used to defend him and be multiple things, and yes, the hormonal biology you could say, but in fact, when I was 13, I was far above. Going through such things or such predicaments puts you through a mental maturity level. I have the maturity level of and experiences that most adults will never have, most old people will never have. So I can talk about these things like it's nothing. Things happen to me that you can't imagine. But guess what? I don't go around begging to be the victim like Naruto does. I don't go around comparing or trying to overquelch someone else's backstory with my own. I don't go, oh, so your family's dead? Guess what? Well, I didn't have a family. It's basically what Naruto does. It's quite the annoying. It's a nuisance. And don't even get me started on the whole bonding with Sasuke thing. No, you aren't one. You weren't friends with Sasuke. You were rivals. After all, being a rival doesn't mean you guys are friends. In fact, it just drives you to be someone better than that person, because usually you don't like them. An enemy of sorts. Everyone has one. Or at least, used to have one at one point. I've had one. I know for sure I've had one. He was never a friend. To be honest, I've never had many friends, mostly foes, but in fact, I can say with certainty that my biggest rival was not that of a friend. Sasuke was not a friend. In fact, Naruto was trying to control him. He was doing many stalker-like things, and many of the people are hypocrites. Oh, Sakura, why would you like to end up with Sasuke, who abuses you consistently? Oh, Lord. Shut up. In fact, you are quite the hypocrite of yourself. The same things that Sakura does, simping for Sasuke, Naruto does for her. Actually, worse. In fact, he tries to help her he tries to get Sasuke back, just so that she could feel happy. Quite the simp behavior. The Hokage part. I want to become Hokage for affirmation. It's quite annoying as well. Why should you care about affirmation? I don't understand it. It can't really. You go in thinking that, then you basically get all of the praise you want, surpassing people with boatloads of plot armor, and then you still become Hokage because I guess you just have to now. When you could have let Kiba done it, or someone who truly wanted it at that point in time, or Konohamaru, someone along those lines. Naruto being a shitty father, but even if he was a good father, I wouldn't like him because of my despise for the character. But, again, the plot armor. Naruto is one of the most plot-driven characters ever. Indeed, he truly is. After all, character just gets these random power buffs, doesn't train. You guys call doing some sit-ups training. Try training 4 to 6 hours in a day. It's a disrespect to real martial artists like myself. Martial artists, street fighters, whatever you want to call me. I trained for the past 6 years, a lot of that time being 4 to 6 hours a day. You put in blood, sweat, and tears in that. You put yourself to the brink of breaking. Naruto does some sit-ups as a kid and suddenly he's a trained martial artist. I see. He had a lack of skill. He's far exceeded everyone with the plot armor, and he still claimed everything. Without the QB, he would be nothing. Why? Not because of his genetics, no. In fact, he'd be still quite powerful without the QB if he trained and learned things, but he chose not to. In fact, he chose the opposite, to rely on the QB's power to a whole nother level. This subservient character annoys me, claiming falsehoods over and over again. How could I like someone like that? It's disgusting and despicable. Now, if you have an issue with it, feel free to tell me why below. After all, I'm willing to debate on these things, but I don't debate over text. So if you want to debate, don't even bother writing down things. Only go into my VC and at me. I'll go in. Because that's all I care about. I don't want to text. It's annoying. It's aggravating. Yet some of you guys are too pussy to get on call, and it's quite tedious to deal with over and over. Or if you try to join call, you guys suddenly pussy out and say my mic's broken. Yes, indeed. Totally. Keep on telling yourself those lies. Not everyone's gonna fall for them over and over again.